welcome everybody. My name is Chase. I'm super excited to have Andrea Daniels here, and I'm going to introduce her in a quick sec. A couple housekeeping items here. If you were expecting to see Elena, I'm so sorry. She had a conflict on her schedule, so you're stuck with me. It's okay though, I promise. If you see some slides that say her name, it's okay. I can fill in, okay for Elena. She's a wizard. One more quick thing I want to plug at the beginning here. As you guys probably know, we are going to be live in Dallas on August 29th. It is the day after the Tom Ferry Summit. If you're going to be there, stay the day extra. If you're not going to be there for Ferry, hop on a flight, quick turn and burn. One day event, 9 to 4 at the Loft. We've got a lineup of tremendous speakers. CEOs are going to be in the room. Founders are going to be in the room. It's going to be open your laptops, get stuff done, and not just a bunch of rah stuff. So I would welcome you to be there. I will drop the link in the chat so you can see it there. But without further ado, I want to again welcome Andrea. So today is going to be all about turning leads into customers from automation to authenticity. We're going to explore exactly what to say and do when they reply. And again, Andrea Daniels, she is the owner and CEO of Rookie to Rainmaker with over 20 years of experience in lead gen and conversations that convert. She's also spent the last 5 years in multiple top agents databases, gaining more insight into effective lead nurturing. She's tremendously passionate, of course, about helping businesses attract and nurture leads effectively, leveraging both tech and genuine communication. Sought after speaker, consultant, and committed to helping you reach your goals. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Andrea, and we will rock and roll from there.
Thank you, Chase. Yes, I would say I am obsessed with agents databases. And one part that's not in the bio is in 2020, I was in charge of a handful of inside sales agents. And whether it was Brivity or Sierra or Follow Up Boss, whatever CRM they were in, I became a little obsessive about the auto plans, or if you call it a drip campaign or a marketing follow-up process. And what I realized is, compared to what Elena has, which is amazing, what I realized is it was very cold, for lack of a better word. And it was all about the transaction instead of the relationship. So now that we've evolved to some of the things that Elena does to create a better relationship, what I want everyone to realize today, when we go through and we're gonna go through actual examples straight out of people's databases. And what I want people to understand is your auto plan or drip campaign, that's going to pull up the hand raisers. We can only go so far with that. What we're going to talk about today is once that hand raises comes up, how do we have the conversation, whether it's text, email, or phone, and move that lead forward in a micro step?
Well, I think what happens is all these automations that we have, like you're probably going to talk about, is they hand raise, they ask to see a house, or they look at a house 3 times or whatever, and then the agents are like, "Great, this is awesome. Now what? Now what do I do? I have all these great systems, but what the heck happens when they actually do this?"
Exactly. And Chase, I'm going to ask you an unscripted question. I'm hoping you're going to give me the answer I'm looking for. When someone puts their hand up, what is the go-to for an agent? What do they think?
What should be the go-to, or what is their go-to?
What is their go-to? We're going to talk about what should be their go-to.
Let's see here. I mean, they're going to call them right away. They should call them right away and say something.
They say something. So typically someone raises their hand and the agent is running off to get married, and we should be courting and dating them, right? So if they put their hand, an agent or a salesperson is typically like, transaction, let's go. You pre-approved? Like, you ready to sell? Can I come over for a listing appointment? We're like, whoa, we just had appetizers and drinks and you're already on the second date or engaged. So we're going to talk about how to move those micro steps forward today. You're like, what should they? I'm like, yes, they should respond right away. On that note, and Chase, it looks, because obviously you have a whole entire real estate team there behind you with the sign. You wouldn't believe how many agents unintentionally ghost their own database and don't respond to leads. Like when they text message back, I'm like, you left the ball in their court. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is from automation to authenticity, exactly what to say when your leads reply. And what I want to give everyone a heads up to, there's no silver bullet. Okay. We're going to talk about what works with most people most of the time. It's not a one size fits all. And when you start to respond to people in your database, you'll find a cadence that works with people. And we always want to remember, we want to communicate with people in their preferred communication style and meeting them where they're at and their cadence. Okay. So if anyone wants to put in the chat some questions that they might have today, we are here for it, and Chase is going to be looking out for that. Chase, can you see my screen?
I sure can. You're good to go.
Okay, great. All right. So, have you ever thought to yourself when you're alone in your prospecting time, how do I respond to this email? How do I respond to this text message? Should I respond via email? Should I respond via text? Should I give them a call? Chase, out of curiosity, what is your preferred method of communication?
Me personally,
Yep,
texting.
texting. Okay. So, mine is a phone call. Now, remember, that is my generation. So I prefer to get on the phone and flush it out than go back and forth with a few thousand text messages.
Sure.
However, one of the stats, and I can share this after the call, Chase, if you want to put it in the comments for the recording,
Sure.
is 90% of people check their text messages within the first 5 minutes. We are in an automation world. More people
Andrew, I
would
think we
rather.
lost you for a sec.
Oh,
You seem to be frozen. Let's give it just a quick moment. Hopefully it will catch up, unless you got hit with a storm. I don't know. But
how about now?
hopefully she comes back.
Oh, now you're frozen. How about now?
There she is. Good.
There we
Good.
go. All right. So I will say that again with brevity. Most people would prefer not to talk to a human for some things. So 90% of people respond to a text message in the first 5 minutes. Email, depending on how good your emails are, have a 40% open rate. And not a lot of people are answering their phones these days. So if we want to and now we're going to be talking about text messages today, emails today. My default is to pick up the phone. Chase's default is to text message. What I want you to remember when we go through the PowerPoint is what medium are they responding to us on? If they're emailing us back, if they're text messaging us back, most likely they're not going to pick up if I pick up the phone, even though that's what I prefer. But you can move towards that in the communication, whether it's text or email, electronic before we get to the phone, if that is your preferred method, or if you feel like you need to have a longer conversation because it's a more of a detailed call. All right. If you're not getting responses, now Elena does have some things you can swap today at the end. Please stay tuned for the QR code because she'll have some example auto plans or things that you can put into practice on the Google Drive. So make sure you grab that at the end. And then I'll also have a summary sheet that I'll be sending out afterwards as well with everything I talk about. So don't worry about writing anything down. Chase, did you want to add anything before we go forward?
No, I mean, I'm sure going to get to it. I don't want to steal your thunder here, but I mean, one of the things that I've trained and taught my agents in the office that I'm at too is it kind of like what you've been saying is if you call them, you text them, email them, they're getting property, the drip emails go out. If they email you back, the first thing you should do, and in my opinion, and I could be wrong here, is
Right.
email them back.
Seems smart.
Kind of like you mentioned, you call them aggressively and you're going for the jugular, that may be turning them off a little bit. But I'm curious to hear your take there.
Yeah. So people want to be communicated with in their style, whether that's electronic, phone, email. That's one part of it. And I know we're not going to talk about today, Chase, but the DISC profile. So a
Mhm.
DISC communication style. High D is direct. High I and are personal, super friendly like Chase's. And S is stable and cautious. A C is very detail oriented, very cautious, think Excel spreadsheets and engineers. So whether we're going to talk to them on the phone or have future conversation, remember they have their own personality style, and whether it is electronic, and they want to communicate that way, or they're going to communicate to you a certain way. So there's two different things to look for. What we're going to talk about today is the communication piece when the lead first comes in. So scenario number one, again, this is taken out of one of Elena's clients' databases. A lead comes back to view a property. So the existing lead has been sitting in your database unresponsive for 3 months. You've either never reached them in the first place, or have been able to reconnect. You can initiate an automation in your CRM to track this behavior. Now, something that I'm going to say before I go to the next slide is that I want you to remember is we are not the main character in the story of their life. We're just an extra. So when they blow us off, it's not really a blow off. It just might not be a priority at that time. So we can't take it personal.
100%. 100%.
We're just going to be there when they're ready. So Chase, I feel like you know the stat. You're like, I didn't prep for this, Andrea. What percentage of people are ready now?
Look, you're interviewing me now. Ready now? Be shooting in the dark. I was gonna say 5%. Yeah.
3% of people are ready now. If you go into when you're following up with leads and you're thinking only 3% of the leads who are ready now, the rest are going to be the nurturers. We have to date them. Oh, didn't mean to put you on the spot there. So
But
a lead,
you have to date them and then earn their trust and earn their business, right? Earn the right to serve them, right? We're owed
exactly.
nothing until we've provided enough resources and value and answers that they want right, to outperform the competition, right? And the one thing that I've always said is, and not, I didn't make this up, but I mean, most leads that we have in our database are in 5 other agents' databases too, or
Yep.
10 for that matter.
Yep.
So what can we do as agents to shine brighter than the others? We know what the industry average is atrocious at follow up and everything else. So not hard to get a leg up, but we have to actually make that step.
I'm so glad that you said that, Chase. You brought up a great point. Is when I started my business 5 years ago, after interviewing 4,000 agents, being a recruiter, I knew that agents weren't doing their follow up. When a lead comes in, most people, salespeople, will attempt twice to call it. It takes between 8 and 16 touches to even be a thought in their mind. And I knew that I could outlast the agents. That's when I started training inside sales agents. So you only have to work a little bit harder, just a
So
little bit.
let me ask you then. I'll interview you now.
Sure.
What would you say to the agent that this happens? I'm sure across the board, right? You call them 2 times or 3 times, the name pulls back up, and the agent goes, "Oh God, Andrew's not going to answer that. I've already called her 3 times. She's not going to answer my call. What? She don't want to talk to me. Why would I then? How would I feel not discouraged to make that 4th, 10th, 15th
Sure.
touch when you're
Sure.
discouraged by them not
I mean,
answering?"
that's a great question. I would say if you know in your head that you're not going to get them to respond till the ninth contact, it's just doing the task. Like it was usually the reason the statistics show that it's 8 or 9 contacts to be top of mind. And I was like, all right, well, we just have to get to the ninth contact. That was my mindset going in. And then because I became obsessed with the conversion and I started tracking it, and it became between 16 and 51. And there was a woman, great woman in South Jersey. Her name was Connie.
16
And
to
I had
51. You froze a
16
little
and
bit.
51.
Yeah,
Yeah,
got it. Okay.
16 and 51. And there was a woman in South Jersey who we ended up listing her house. And on the 16th call, I had never gotten a hold of her. I had her voicemail memorized. She was like, "Oh, it's so great to talk to you." She thought it was the first time I'd actually called her. I was like, "No, I have your voicemail memorized. You and your husband dress up as Mr. and Mrs. Claus. Like, it's like, ho, 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 Santa's with the sleigh." And she thought it was the first time ever that I was calling.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so I think if you're just like, well, yeah, she doesn't want to talk to me. No, it's okay. I just have to call at least 9 times because that's what Andrea said. That's not what I said. But
And
those
you know
are
what's
the statistics.
the other side of that too? And not to
Mm-hmm.
discredit that, but actually just to make it more impactful. My very first listing when I started 14 years ago was a farm listing, and we still farm. It's our core of our business. But we had passing on our flyers, and once a week I'm dropping them at the door. We do it ourselves. And he calls up, mom had passed, and he saw the 2 flyers I had left because they were kind of like this
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't pick them up. He thought I'd been there for years, right? Because he comes to his house, oh my gosh, this guy's got peace and da da da. It's the opposite mentality, but it just goes to show you how important each call that you make is. Because you don't
Layering.
know who's going to meet you. They're going to see a thing, oh God, delete. Oh, delete. And then you either get the mind power or the brain, top mind concept, or in your instance, first time you called me, but you've done so much legwork behind the scenes.
Yes. And especially with the automations that Elena does, it is a layering effect. It's not just a text, it's not just a call, it's not just an email, it's all 3. And the same thing with farming, which I believe is what you're describing, which is putting the flyers out. Okay, so back to the lead who viewed a property. It's been sitting in your database unresponsive for 3 months. Through some of the tools, Follow Up Boss, whatever CRMs you're in, you can see who previewed a property. Hopefully you're checking that. Now, the subject line is the home that catches your eye. Hello, Mary and John. I noticed that you viewed 123 Main Street. If I may ask, what was it about the property that caught your eye? Thanks, Elena. And they respond and says, level lot, looked well kept, nice house. So I'm not sure if Mary or John responded, but 2 things are happening. I was like, okay, I have someone who's very direct, a high D in the disc profile, which is 8% of the population. So I'm going to respond, but I'm not going to respond with a paragraph or a wall of
I
text based on this.
was just thinking that too. Exactly. Mirror and match, right? Mirror and match.
Mirror match. So if anyone in the crowd wants to respond, or Chase, before I go ahead and give how I would look at this, how would you respond to turn this into a productive conversation? So if Meg or Chase wants to put in the chat, or it,
We got a handful here. Let's put someone else on the
okay,
spot before I embarrass myself here.
of course, we'll let the audience answer.
Okay, I'll give him a second here. Little lot looks well kept, nice house. It's got to be very short and direct back to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to hear your take.
Okay. So knowing that, well, there's a few things. What most people forget is motivation. And I don't want people to say motivation because that's what all the other agents who aren't listening to our call or in your little RECC group are saying.
There you go. Got one. Got one.
Okay.
I
Wow.
agree with you. Let me know if you'd like to go check it out. I'd be happy to schedule a time to see it at your convenience.
So who's this? Who's this?
This was a Stacy.
Stacy. I'm not sure what state you are, and I love how you're trying to book the appointment immediately. I do like that. However, I'm going to take a micro step, and because that person might be like, that person's too direct. I'm not ready for them. And something else, Stacy, see if you can start taking I out of all of your sentences. Can I see that again? Oh, yes, it's a
Sorry,
nice property. Do
got
you live
another
in
one.
the area? Or are you planning to relocate? Okay, let me can you leave that up on the screen? Because I want to finish Stacy's.
I'm gonna
So
try. Oh,
type
another
it. Oh,
Stacy's.
Stacy.
Stacy's. Here we go. There we go.
Okay. So I might say, instead of I agree with you, I might say agree with you. Absolutely. And then you say, let me know if you'd like to check it out. I'd be happy to schedule a time to see it. So when I say, let me know if you'd like to check it out, let me know if you have a time to see it. Stacy, we just gave them the ball in their basketball court. If there's anything that I want you to have, Stacy, I want you to be in control of the conversation. So I might say, understandable, agree with you. Absolutely. I might say, would it be helpful to set up a private showing? And see how many less words come in there? Now, typically, Stacy, I'm not going to go for the appointment. However, going for the appointment sometimes works. I might say, level lot looks well, or okay, nice house. I might say, what's important to you about a level lot,
Mhm. Yep.
right? So you could go two ways, Stacy. Again, I'm not tied to the outcome. It's what's going to work with people. And being that he's a high D, I might say, um, absolutely. Would it be helpful if we set up a private showing for you to preview it? Or absolutely, out of curiosity, what's important to you about a level lot? Because we can go see the property, Stacy, but if I don't understand what's important to him about having well kept, what a nice house is to him, or what a level lot means, it's hard to persuade or influence him to take a next step or make a recommendation if I don't know what's important about those things.
Yep. And
Okay.
I learned something, and this was off the cuff. This was from Justin Benson, who's the CDO of Shiloh, which is a AI
Hmm.
coaching platform that listens to your calls and coaches outcomes and stuff like that we love. One of the things that he said that stuck with me, this was 2 years ago, and it's if you could right back to your motivation point, is it again, let's assume that 6 agents have the same leads, name and number, right? It's not always going to be the person that finds the first house and this and that. It's who's going to build that relationship and the trust, like I said before. And it's not so much, hey, Andrea, what are you looking for? Oh, Chase, I'm looking for a 3-2 in Long Beach. Okay, well, you don't need me for that, Andrea. You have Zillow and Redfin and everything else. What is it? What about the 3 bedrooms, right? Oh, we have 2 kids. Oh, I understand. How old are they, right? Oh, you need to be by so-and-so school. Why is that? Oh, well, my son has special needs, and this is the one school that has the program for him. Well, now you have context and a deeper understanding of their goals. They're not going to share all that with everyone they talk to because no one's going to ask those questions. So
Exactly.
it's that get one level past the 3-2 under $1 million in Anaheim. You got to get one layer further. Where's your daycare? Okay, great. I'm going to make sure your search is within 3 miles of a radius around your daycare, etc. Like those types of things.
Exactly, because LP Mama location, price,
Yep.
pre-approval, do you have an agent? LP Mama doesn't matter if you don't understand what's important about them making that decision. And
Yep.
Chase says one level deep. I'm going to even encourage everyone who's listening to go even deeper. Anytime you think you understand something, ask 3 to 5 more questions, right? So who is the other young lady who came up here on the screen?
We've got 3 now. The next one is Lauren.
Okay, yes, it's a nice property. Look at that excitement, Lauren. So, Lauren, what I'm going to encourage you to do, because I lead the witness as well, because I love to talk too much. Do you live in the area or are you planning to relocate? What if it's neither of those? What if I'm coming to Santa Monica and I'm coming from Pennsylvania? I don't live in the area and maybe I'm not relocating, but I'm buying a second property. So I might say, if we're going to ask one question, I'd be like, yes, what a great property. Where will you be traveling from to meet me at the house? Or where do you currently live? Or, so let's get some contextual questions because content, like here's all these houses, let's do this without context is just actually extra noise. So I might say, do you live in the area? That can be a yes or no question. Or you can say, what area do you currently live in? Because I want them because if it's neither of those two answers, I want them to be able to give me way more context, way more context. And based on the fact that I think that this guy is, or girl, Mary or John, is very direct, I'm going to put the least amount of words in that reply email as possible and see if I can get them to get a tiny bit wordier. And I would be asking what's important about a level lot. What does a nice house look like to you? Because we could be setting them other properties similar to that, but we need to know like like that might look like a nice house, but we don't know what nice means to them. So those would be some things that I would respond to this email with. Get super curious, have the response be easy to answer, a very intentional, concise question, and make it about the other person. And Stacy, if you can go get that appointment, sure. Try whether it's at the appointment or before you get there, try and get a little more context about what's important about the level lot and what they consider a nice house. So maybe you could tack, some other showings onto it. But that person might not, to me, that's moving a little fast because are they pre-approved? Do they have a 400 credit score? Is that a far drive from my house, right? Some things that we want to consider. Did you want to add anything, Chase?
We have one more before
Sure.
we move on. Just got to get moving here, but I want to get one more here. Bozina, sounds great. Thank you for getting back to me. When would you be available to see it again?
Okay. Well, what's her name? Benita?
Bozina.
Bozina. Ah, yes. I know she is. So I might be like, sounds great. Thanks for the quick reply. You can even take that out, but again, concise. Thanks for the quick reply. When will be a good time to preview it? And then I'm going to do an alternative choice close because I don't want them. I want to know when my agents are available, and I'm not trying to meet someone at 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. So if I do an alternative choice close and I give them 2 dates, they're not thinking no, or they're not thinking some crazy time. It's Wednesday at 5 or Saturday at 3. Their brain, their subconscious is going to default to picking one of those and not saying no.
Excellent.
All right, let's see what
Great
we have
question.
next.
Great comments too.
Okay. Number 2 scenario: lead submits a showing request on a property. Lead submits a showing request. Our campaigns don't give up after 1 or 2 tries. Why? Here's an example. Hi, Chase. If the property checks all your boxes, would you be ready to make an offer after touring? Let's schedule that tour soon so we can see if it's a perfect fit. Thanks, Andrea. So the subject line is just out of curiosity. Now, I'm going to put a pin in this and not go into detail on it. Your subject lines of your auto plans or drip campaigns, if you put everything in the subject line, they're not going to open the email because you put everything in the subject line. You should be creating a curiosity gap, which is something that they want to click, why they want to click on it in your subject lines. Okay. Hi Chase, when I see one I like, I'm going to let you know immediately and make an offer. Okay. So to me, I would love to know how the audience is going to respond versus how I would respond. So what do we got in the chat box? When I see one I like, I'm going to let you know immediately and make an offer. So it's like, I need to know what they like. And they said immediately. How immediate is immediately?
So a couple things off the cuff would be, and I'm assuming this is the first response they ever talked to them, right? I'm just going to
Yes.
assume that in this scenario. Again, thanks for getting back to me. Have you written offers before and lost out?
That's the question you're going to ask.
I like that one. I do.
Okay.
That gives me context as to if they've got an agent, if they've been looking for a while, if they have struggled in the past.
Okay.
And I like that one.
Well, I can't see it. I can only see Bozina's last one. No, it's okay.
That was just me not talking.
I'm like, could you type it or could you say it one more time, please?
I can type it. Sure.
Lee responded to the 4th email 1 week later. Okay, so this is the 4th touch. Here we go. And there could have been phone calls and text messages in there. Proves our 9 to 15 to 51 contact start. Or, I'm sorry, touch. Okay, that's a great plan. Let me ask. Have you written offers previously and missed out on an opportunity? Chase, how open are you to feedback?
I'm very open to feedback.
Okay. So that's a great plan. Now, when you say let me ask, are we using unnecessary words there?
A little bit.
And we said me, which is kind of like saying I. And when you say have you, it's advice, could be, not in this particular situation. Advice describes the question. I might say, when was the last time you wrote an offer, right? Or instead of have you, I might say, did you write an offer? Did you miss out on an opportunity from a previously written offer?
Okay.
Because I'm trying to take out the and. I'm trying to make it as concise as possible. So you could ask that, because that goes to exactly what they're saying. To me, I would be like, I would like to know. Okay, great. I'm going to go like 10 steps back. I'm going to say, well, what would it look like to find one that you liked? Which to me, I'm intentionally slowing that down. Now, it's not that I'm wrong and Chase is right, or Chase is wrong and I'm right. It can go either way. A lot of the stuff that we teach through exactly what to say is slowing that conversation and gaining context. Chase's question and my question gain context, and you can go two different ways with this. When was the last time you wrote an offer that didn't get accepted?
Yep.
Okay. Or great, would love to help you out. We shouldn't say would love to, but would love to help you out. What would the one look like, or what would be one that you liked? Okay, Stacy, my girl up. Stacy, my best friend's name is Stacy. Okay, do you currently have a lender that you're currently working with? Okay, if we're here on this channel, we want to sound different like than every other agent. I might say, great. I'm gonna use the word. I'm gonna talk about a lender, but call them different. I might say, when was the last time you had a proper conversation with a mortgage lender? But to me, I'm trying to go too forward and fast forward that one. So I'm going to try and take your Stacy and reworked it to how you could use it here. Where I might say, great, would it be helpful great, based on the fact that you said you'd want to make an offer if you found something you liked, would it be helpful if I connected you with my local lender? So, Stacy, you always want to use their own words with them because they can't argue with their own words. I typically wouldn't go to a lender this quickly. However, if we were going to, I'd say, based on the fact that if you see something nice, you want to make an offer, would it be helpful if I connected you with our local lender? And then they're either going to say they have a lender, they're paying cash. So anytime you say, would it be helpful, at the end has to be helpful to them. Stacy, hopefully that helps. All right, Lauren, do you already have financing in place, or are you paying cash? Again, Lauren, love you, Lauren. Lauren, I think I saw you yesterday. We're leading the witness. So I might say, what does your funding look like? I might say, what is your plan for funding the property?
I was just gonna say an almost same line to that.
We're twins, Chase. Right. So, what are your plans for financing the property? What are your plans for funding the property? What if they say my dad passed away and I inherited $1 million, but it's not out of probate yet? Or I need to sell this house to get that house. Or I'm going to put $200,000 down and we have to finance the rest. We want them to be able to give us context. So good work, team. And again, it's not right or wrong. It's just different ways to answer it, because the goal is to gain as much context as possible, because we know other agents are just trying to close the deal. All right. People on this call. Scenario number 3, new buyer lead inquiry. New buyer. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
This is a good one.
Okay. New buyer lead inquiry on a specific property for sale or list of homes for sale. This could be from Google pay-per-click ad, Facebook ad, Instagram ad, any type of ad. All right. So, hi, Chase. Would it be helpful if I let you know when a home comes up that checks all of your must-haves and fits comfortably within your budget? Thanks, Andrea. Subject line, just out of curiosity. Hello, Andrea. Please do it right away. Happy Friday. So who do we think we're talking to here, Chase?
Hi, according to what I think he said.
He says Happy Friday.
Yes.
And the yeses and the exclamation points, right? Which I love. I'm like, oh, you're talking to Chase or I. So, right, you're talking to our personality. So where I might say, so I know I'm talking to a high I, so I can be a little bit wordier, and they're obviously on their iPhone. So I'm going to reply back, and it depends on what the CRM says. I believe this is Follow Up Boss, and that says, yes, I please do right away. And I might say, absolutely. And then I'm going to go back to where the lead came in. I would say, based on your search criteria, is a 3-bed, 2-bath in Santa Monica still a good fit? And they'd say, and that's an easy to answer question. So some of the stuff that Phil teaches, it's called opening fact question. So it's your name, mutually agreeable fact, and an easy to answer question. We don't have to say our name here, but we can say, absolutely. So let's repeat and affirm, or repeat and acknowledge. Absolutely. Based on the fact that you're looking for a 3-bed, 2-bath, would it be helpful if I continue to send properties like that? Is that still a good fit for you? A closed-ended question, because there are times to ask closed-ended questions. Then they respond, and then we can go deeper with that. And then we'll be like, yes, it's absolutely, I want that 3-bed, 2-bath in Santa Monica. And then I might be like, great. What's important to you about Santa Monica? Or how open-minded are you? There's a few other homes that fit that criteria that you might like. How open-minded are you to expanding your search beyond Santa Monica? So we need to know what's important about the 3-beds, 2-bath. We need to know what's important about Santa Monica. We need to know what's important about the move, but we have to ask micro questions to get there.
Yep.
Because I'm super curious about, please do right away. And I might say, help me understand when you envision seeing yourself in the property. If someone says timeline, I will literally drive to their house and hit 'em on the hand. Stop saying timeline.
What does your timeline look like?
No. When do you envision seeing yourself in the home, please?
If you could wave a magical wand, what would you have keys to your new house? I like that one too. I like that one.
I'm not saying I don't like it. People have been like, you sound like Chat GPT. Like, would I ever say in my normal life, wave a magic wand? Not unless I'm Harry Potter. You might say it.
I love
So
last night.
I've never watched it in my life.
You're missing out.
So remember, people will respond to your emails and text messages when you sound more human, right? So Chase would say, wave a magic wand. I might say, hey, when do you want the keys to your new man cave, right? That's how I am on the East Coast. We're very laid back, a lot of slang.
Change the verbiage for the magic wand thing. Just change it to, if everything worked out perfectly, when would you have keys to your new house? I mean,
Exactly.
You say it. So that's just me. But, and I have. I mean, I've said it at the bar council. So, it's just me.
Well, no, I think what's important here is, there's no perfect script. It's whatever you feel natural saying, that's what's going to work. The idea behind it is we're not being like, great, when do you want to do a showing? Slow this stuff down. But we're reading the email. We understand the personality type. And our next reply is asking a series of micro questions to get us to the bigger conversation of getting pre-approved, getting an appointment, becoming their agent. But we can't fast forward relationships. I mean, we can.
What's the old saying or proverb or whatever? Seek first to understand, then be understood, or something like that. I mean, it's very similar.
That's literally upstairs on my desk. Yes,
Yeah,
it's seek to understand. Yeah, seek to understand first.
So you have to go deeper, like you're saying, and this is obviously intentionally slowing the process to gain the context that other agents aren't going to have. Right?
And when you gain the context, you gain the relationship.
In the trust, and exactly.
And for any of you who make phone calls, and at Chase, I know you have your own database of agents, they will forget you if your call is 2 to 3 minutes. You build rapport when your phone call is 10 to 16 minutes, and I'm going to lean towards the 16 minutes. That is from Mr. Chris Smith, who wrote a book called The Conversion Code. So one of my agents who's in Colorado, her calls used to be 2 minutes, and then her calls went to 20 minutes, and she doubled her business.
You mean this book?
I think we just became best friends.
With bookmarks in it? And highlights?
Yes.
Every time I read the book, if I highlight something, I put a bookmark on the side so I know where the highlight was.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, that book. All right, let's go to our next one. Sarah,
I got your big books over here too, by the way. I got 2 of them.
Are they exactly what to say or exactly what to say for real estate agents?
I have both, side by side.
After we get off of the call, turn to page 179 or 180 of exactly what to say for real estate agents. Oh, he's going to go get it now.
Putting you on the spot, see if your page number is correct.
I think it's 179. It's the field guide.
Field guide.
Do you know how many people don't use that?
No.
That is straight gold. I was writing auto plans 5 years ago and testing them. Those are so good for text message or emails for the first response for auto plans, or even a phone call. Yep. So that's Phil's best kept secret. I usually just teach people that and they don't know it.
If you guys don't have this book, you need to get it. Stacy, you're in my office. Come borrow it.
Stacy's in your office? Oh, no.
She's probably sitting 30 feet that way.
Hey, girl. Hey. I love that. All right, here we go. The lead comes back to view a property. Another example of a lead coming back to view a property. The lead didn't respond to the initial email, but they did respond to the next one. Okay, here we go. Hi, Chase. I was just wondering, did your timeline change? You know how I feel about that world. It is never too early to meet with a knowledgeable agent who can help you with some preliminary planning. Will you allow me to help you get started on the road to successful home ownership? Feel free to respond to this email and let me know how I can help. And the person on their iPhone, I feel like there's a high D again, or curmudgeon, waiting for rates to drop and see what happens with the election. So there's 2 objections to unpack here. So anytime someone says waiting for rates to drop, what could they mean, Chase? Just give me, or in the chat.
What could they mean, or what do you respond with?
What could they mean?
But anything. It's too vague.
Exactly. So it won't be like, marry the house, date the rate. I'm like, oh my God, stop it. Stop, marry the house and write the date. So, because what if rates go up, right? So it could be anything, waiting for interest rates to drop. Or when it says what happens with the election, it could be a local election. They could be blue, they could be red, they could be independent. I don't know. That's not one I want to unpack, but we do hear it on the phone. So with this one, since there are different ways that the objection could go, I might say, okay, wait for rates drop and see what happens with the election. Out of curiosity, where would you like to see the rates? Because we know it's not about the rates, it's about the payment, most likely. So I might say, yeah, what are you looking for the rate to be? I'm not going to go in with a 2-1 buy down, seller concession. That's too heavy. Where would you go with this one, Chase? And then I would love for the
exact same question.
okay.
Out of curiosity, what would the rates have to be, right, for you? Any variation therein. I've talked to my agents about this whole dialogue on the phone. So using it on email, you're just breaking it up into individual questions. If you go back again, same thing. It's a short email. So if you go back with 4 questions on a full conversation, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, this is too much." But
This is too much.
it's like you said.
Yes. So, or you could say, out of curiosity, what's your current rate? Because
Oh,
I
I'm
want to know
renting.
if they have a house.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, there are websites like True People Search, Been Verified, Fast People Search, Forewarn, where when I used to be an inside sales agent, I would always look up people's phone number while I was waiting for it to ring or while I was listening to them taking notes. Because I'm like, a lot of buyers coming into contact management databases are hidden sellers.
Well, it's a huge percentage. It's a huge
and
percentage.
and sometimes you forget that, or a nosy neighbor, like maybe someone's coming in and they're just curious about the house that just went up for sale because they're thinking about selling there. So always be curious. I wouldn't say, don't go into any conversation with certainty. And because there's so much to unpack here, and because politics can be a little touchy depending on where this lead's coming from, I would probably start with the rate one. Because anytime, and this is directly from Phil's mouth, it's like, hey, isolate the objection, handle 1 to 2 of them. If there starts to become 4 or 5 you need to ask yourself if you really want this person as a client. Because if they're this much difficult in the beginning when they're a lead, what are they going to be like as a client?
Yep.
Right? All right, we are almost at time here. We're almost there. Oh, there we go. So
Right.
if you are in the crowd and you scan the QR code, Elena gifted you some sample auto plans or drip campaigns that you can use in your CRM. So make sure you take a picture of that. And then on the next slide is going to be a summary of what we talked about today. So you didn't have to rush through and take notes, but I'll give you a second to take a picture of yes, Lauren. That's Lauren Williams. Chase, I can send that to her afterwards if you want me to.
Sure. No problem.
And then my QR code is next, and that's just for a summary of some of the notes that we said. Because Chase and I talked about a lot of things. There's some little pieces of gold in there, some nuggets. And I would say, not that you're supposed to go in summary, I would say go back to your leads. If you're looking to pick up transactions right now, I'd go back to leads from 12 to 24 months ago. And my go-to for that might be, hey, Chase, this is Andrea with XYZ Company. Back in 2023, you're previewing some properties in Santa Monica. Out of curiosity, is home ownership still a priority to you? Or out of curiosity, did you find a home yet? So that's my call to action as something that you could go back to an old lead, because most people are coming in, like Chase said, 3 to 5% are ready now. Everyone else we're nurturing. And I know most agents aren't calling their old leads. So it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And there's
Yep.
Elena's QR code again.
I
Chase,
mean,
did you want to get?
everyone gets so gung happy. Is that the right word? I don't know. When a new lead comes in,
Gung ho.
right? Yeah, gung ho, right? Whatever. I butchered that one.
It's okay.
When a lead comes in, it's always new lead, shiny object, shiny object. But I'm not the first person to say this, and nor will I be the last. But there's gold sitting in your database from, like you just said, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, right? I mean, those are the people, and you should have a system, some way to, and we're not going into the tech side of the world here, but some way to monitor their behavior, monitor their interaction. If you're using Real Scout or Ylopo, or whatever tool you're going to use, have something that syncs with you, whatever system you're using. I think most people here are probably in Follow Boss. So there are a ton of options. You have to be able to send them properties. That's all people care about, right? At the end of the day, properties are going to get them engaged more than the just simple outreach. They want properties over and over and over. So
give them what they want first.
Give them what they want. And when they engage, you have to see, oh my gosh, they looked at this house 4 times. We talked about an example, a dialogue earlier. They came back after 6 months. Okay. I think Andrea she is. She's back. She's back. Can she hear me? Maybe. There she is. Your mic might be different again. But again, the point is you have to be able to see what they're doing, right? Because behavior is going to lead to, they might say they're looking next year, next spring, and we've all been there when they say, I'm waiting until next summer. And then, okay, great. Now you're a D lead. I'll call you once a month if you're lucky, maybe. And then what happens is you look at their activity and they're looking at houses every 3 days. They're behaving. Oops, here she is. Okay, she's there. I can hear her too. Right? You talk to someone looking next summer. It's August. Great. Okay, they're a D lead. Maybe I'll call them once a month. I'll probably see their name and forget about it. Whatever. And then if you don't have the behavioral clues and you see them looking at houses every single day, they're behaving like an A or a B, whatever term you want to use, hot, warm, whatever, right? If you don't, and you make that phone call, finally you get, I'll finally give her a call again. Now it's March. Guess what happens? Oh, Chase, yeah, I ended up buying a house in December, right? Because we dropped the ball. So you have to have a way to kind of, big brother their activity a little bit.
I love that you shared that. It's Big Brother seeing what they're doing. And if in the book that you have, there's rejection free openings. So in the orange and black book, I believe there's 24 phrases.
What page number? I'm going to quiz you again.
I gave my book away when I was in South Africa. Literally, my personal book, the woman's like, "Can I have it?" I was like, "Sure." I literally handed her the book that I go to. There's rejection free openings in there. So, Chase, if you want to look at, I don't know if it's for you, but who do you know is a good one. And then opening fact question. Those are rejection free openings where you're like, if I said to Chase, well, hey, Chase, I don't know if it's for you, but we're having a seminar the day after the Tom Ferry Summit. Would you like the invitation? I already pre-positioned that to Chase that it's almost like I gave him an out, like, hey, I don't know if it is for you. And then his brain goes, well, I'll be the decider of that one. I will let you know if it's for me.
Yep.
So if you're thinking about, hey, I want to call this person, they haven't picked up, some of the rejection free openers, opening fact question, I don't know if it's for you, but are real open-minded, are really good ways to get back in the game. If you have anyone on your teams who are like, well, they didn't pick up, they must not be interested, why am I going to waste my time?
Excellent.
It's like you and I are looking at the math. We're looking at the math in the back of the database. Anyway, I digress. Do you want me to be available for questions for anyone? Or are we doing a hard stop at 46 minutes?
Anyone is still on and wants to jump in a question, a real scenario, real quick. Got a couple here that are still live. So take this next 30 seconds and throw something in there. I just realized, too, the copy that I have is Renee sent this to me. This is her little...
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. You know why I'm laughing about that?
Why is that?
I love Renee. The copy that I had on stage when I was in South Africa was... I can have my own customized book. Like, she has her customized book. I just haven't gotten to it yet. That's my fault. Speed of the lead. I gave away her copy on stage. The woman was like, do you have more copies? I was like, no, but here, you can have mine. And I gave my go-to copy away, and it's Renee's. It's not even mine. My face on the back.
I love Renee. She's a friend of mine. She's in Florida. Powerhouse. What a powerhouse.
Can you hold that up so we can take a photo of it? I'm going to take a photo of my screen. Just another reminder that I should have my own book, my own picture on the back of Phil's book.
Yes, you should have sent me a copy, would you?
I have to write the foreword first. This is the last thing I'm going to say. It was funny because I said to Phil, I was like, yeah, I got to write the foreword, and I got to get my own book. And he goes, Andrew, let me ask you a question. He goes, do you think anyone's going to really read the foreword? I was like, you're right. They're not. I don't read most forewords. He's like, then just do the book. And like, that's how he's a high day. Love how matter of fact is. I was like, yeah, you're right. It's not about me.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today.
We're great. This was amazing. Certainly reach out to Andrea, get her link, of course, and then hopefully see you guys in Dallas. And Andrea, I'll talk to you real soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.